Tonight we bring you a folk story from Japan. But before we begin our version of this ancient tale, it's time to relax. Get comfortable where you are and locate your inner peace. Feel a gentle calm rest in you and feel your muscles become heavy. Allow your eyes to close and take your breaths in long and deep inhales, and then out in full and long exhales. Feel your mind relax too. Long ago, there lived in Kyoto a brave soldier named Kintoki. He fell in love with a beautiful lady and married her. But not long after this, through misunderstandings, he fell into disgrace at court and was dismissed. Together they left and found a beautiful and quiet home in the Ashigara Mountains, and when at last Kintoki's spirit left his body, his wife stayed on. There, in the still and solitary forests, where no one ever came except woodcutters, a little boy was born to her. She called him Kintaro, or the Golden Boy. The remarkable thing about this child was his great strength. And as he grew older, he grew stronger and stronger, so that by the time he was 8 years of age, he was able to cut down trees as quickly as the woodcutters. Then his mother gave him a large axe, and he would go out in the forest and help the woodcutters, who called him Wonder Child, and his mother, the old nurse of the mountains, for they did not know her high rank. Quite unlike other boys, Kintaro grew up all alone in the mountain wilds, and as he had no companions, he made friends with all the animals and learned to understand them and to speak their strange talk. They all grew quite tame and looked upon Kintaro as their master. But his most special friends were the bear, the deer, the monkey, and the hare. The bear often brought her cubs for Kintaro to play with, and when she came to take them home, Kintaro would get on her back and take a ride to her cave. He was very fond of the deer too, and would often put his arms around the creature's neck to show that its long horns did not frighten him. They had so much fun together. One day, as usual, Kintaro went up into the mountains, followed by the bear, the deer, the monkey, and the hare. After walking for some time uphill, down dale, and over rough roads, they came out upon a wide and grassy plain, covered with pretty wild flowers. Here was a nice place where they could all play together. Kintaro said, "Here is a place for a good game. Let's play wrestle just like the greatest sumos." The bear, being the biggest and the oldest, answered for the others. "That will be great fun," said she. "I am the strongest animal, so I will make the platform for the wrestlers." And she set to work with a will to dig up the earth and to pat it into shape. "All right," said Kintaro. "I will look on while you all wrestle. I shall give a prize to the one who wins in each round." "What fun! We shall all try to get the prize," said the bear. The deer, the monkey, and the hare set to work to help the bear raise the platform on which they were all to wrestle. When this was finished, Kintaro said, "We can begin. The monkey and the hare shall open the sports, and the deer shall be umpire. Mr. Deer, you are to be umpire."
"I will be umpire," said the deer. "Mr. Monkey and Mr. Hare, if you are both ready, please walk out and take your places on the platform."
Then the monkey and the hare both hopped out quickly and nimbly to the wrestling platform. The deer, as umpire, stood between the two and called out, "Red back! Red back!" This to the monkey, who has a red back in Japan. "Are you ready?" Then he turned to the hare. Long ears, are you ready?" Both the little wrestlers faced each other, while the deer raised a leaf on high as signal. When he dropped the leaf, the monkey and the hare rushed upon each other, saying, "Yoisho, yoisho." While the monkey and the hare wrestled, the deer called out encouragingly or shouted warnings to each of them as the hare or the monkey maneuvered each other near the edge of the platform. Red back, stand your ground," called out the deer. Long ears, be strong, don't let the monkey win," said the bear. So the monkey and the hare, encouraged by their friends, tried their very hardest to each win. At last the deer, holding his leaf on high, said, "This round is finished. The hare has won." Kintaro then opened his luncheon box and, taking out a rice dumpling, gave it to the hare, saying, "Here is your prize, and you have earned it well." Now the monkey got up looking rather cross, and, as they say in Japan, his stomach stood up, for he felt that he had not been fairly beaten. So he said to Kintaro and the others who were standing by, "I have not been fairly beaten. My foot slipped and I tumbled. Please, give me another chance and let the hare wrestle with me for another round." Then Kintaro consenting, the hare and the monkey began to wrestle again. Now, as everyone knows, the monkey is a cunning animal by nature, and he made up his mind to get the best of the hare this time, if it were possible. To do this, he thought that the best and surest way would be to get a hold of the hare's long ears. This he soon managed to do. The hare was quite thrown off his guard by this, and the monkey, seeing his opportunity, caught hold of one of the hare's legs and sent him sprawling in the middle of the dice. The monkey was now the victor and received a rice dumpling from Kintaro, which pleased him so much. The deer now came up and asked the hare if he felt ready for another round, and if so, whether he would try a round with him. And the hare, consenting, they both stood up to wrestle. The bear came forward as umpire. The deer with long horns and the hare with long ears. It must have been an amusing sight to those who watched this strange game. In this way, sometimes the one, sometimes the other, conquering, the little party amused themselves till they were tired and they felt their bodies becoming heavy. At last, Kintaro got up and said, "This is enough for today. What a nice place we have found. Let us come again tomorrow. Now we will all go home." So saying, Kintaro led the way while the animals followed. After walking some little distance, they came out on the banks of a river,
flowing through a valley. Kintaro and his 4 furry friends stood and looked about for some means of crossing, but there was no bridge. The river rushed on its way. All the animals looked serious, wondering how they could cross the stream and get home that evening. Kintaro, however, said, "Wait a moment. I will make a good bridge for you all in a few minutes." The bear, the deer, the monkey and the hare looked at him to see what he would do now. Kintaro went from one tree to another that grew along the riverbank. At last he stopped in front of a very large tree that was growing at the water's edge. He took hold of the trunk and pulled it with all his might. At the 3rd pull, so great was Kintaro's strength that the roots gave way, and over fell the tree, forming a sturdy bridge across the stream. "There," said Kintaro. "What do you think of my bridge? It is quite safe, so follow me." And he stepped across first. The 4 animals followed. Never had they seen anyone so strong before, and they all exclaimed, "How strong he is! How strong he is!" While all this was going on by the river, a woodcutter, who happened to be standing on a rock overlooking the stream, had seen all that passed beneath him. He watched with great surprise Kintaro and his animal companions. He rubbed his eyes to be sure that he was not dreaming when he saw this boy pull over a tree by the roots and throw it across the stream to form a bridge. The woodcutter, for such he seemed to be by his dress, marveled at all he saw and said to himself, "This is no ordinary child. Whose son can he be? I will find out before this day is done." He hastened after the strange party and crossed the bridge behind them. Kintaro knew nothing of all this, and little guessed that he was being followed. On reaching the other side of the river, he and the animals separated, they to their lairs in the woods, and he to his mother, who was waiting for him. As soon as he entered the cottage, which stood like a matchbox in the heart of the pine woods, he went to greet his mother, saying, "Mother, here I am." "Oh, Kimbo," said his mother with a bright smile, glad to see her boy home safe after the long day. "How late you are today. Where have you been all this time?" "I took my 4 friends, the bear, the deer, the monkey and the hare, up into the hills, and there we played a wrestling game to see which was the strongest. We all enjoyed the sport and are going to the same place tomorrow to have another game. Now tell me, who is the strongest of all?" asked his mother, pretending not to know. "Oh, mother," said Kintaro, "don't you know that I am the strongest? There was no need for me to wrestle with any of them." "But next to you then, who is the strongest?" "The bear comes next to me in strength," answered Kintaro. "And after the bear?" asked his mother again. "Next to the bear, it is not easy to say which is the strongest, for the deer, the monkey, and the hare all seem to be as strong as each other," said Kintaro. Suddenly, Kintaro and his mother were startled by a voice from outside. Listen to me, little boy. Next time you go, take this old man with you to the wrestling game. He would like to join the sport too. It was the old woodcutter who had followed Kintaro from the river. He slipped off his clogs and entered the cottage. They were both taken by surprise. They looked at the intruder wonderingly and saw that he was someone they had never seen before. "Who are you?" they both asked. Then the woodcutter smiled and said, "It does not matter who I am yet, but let us see who has the strongest arm, this boy or myself." Then Kintaro, who had lived all his life in the forest, answered the old man without any ceremony, saying, "We will have a try if you wish it, but you must not be angry, whoever is beaten." Then Kintaro and the woodcutter both put out their right arms and grasped each other's hands. For a long time, Kintaro and the old man wrestled together in this way, each trying to move the other's arm, but the old man was very strong, and the strange pair were evenly matched. At last the old man desisted, declaring it a drawn game. "You are indeed a very strong child. There are few men who can boast of the strength of my right arm," said the woodcutter. "I saw you first on the banks of the river a few hours ago, when you pulled up that large tree to make a bridge across the torrent. Hardly able to believe what I saw, I followed you home. Your strength of arm, which I have just tried, proves what I saw this afternoon. When you are full grown, you will surely be the strongest man in all of Japan. It is a pity that you are hidden away in these wild mountains." Then he turned to Kintaro's mother. "And you, mother, have you not thought of taking your child to the capital, and of teaching him to carry a sword as befits a samurai?" "You are very kind to take so much interest in my son," replied the mother. "But he is, as you see, wild and uneducated, and I fear it would be very difficult to do as you say. Because of his great strength as an infant, I hid him away in this unknown part of the country. I have often wished that I could one day see my boy a knight wearing two swords. But as we have no influential friend to introduce us at the capital, I fear my hope will never come true." "You need not trouble yourself about that. To tell you the truth, I am no woodcutter. I am one of the great generals of Japan. My name is Sadamitsu, and I am a vassal of the powerful Lord Minamoto no Raiko. He ordered me to go around the country and look for boys who give promise of remarkable strength, so that they may be trained. I thought that I could best do this by assuming the disguise of a woodcutter. By good fortune, I have thus unexpectedly come across your son. Now, if you really wish him to be a samurai, I will take him and present him to the Lord Raiko as a candidate for his service. What do you say to this?" As the kind general gradually unfolded his plan, the mother's heart was filled with great joy. She saw that here was a wonderful chance of the one wish of her life being fulfilled, that of seeing Kintaro, a samurai. Bowing her head to the ground, she replied, "I will then entrust my son to you, if you really mean what you say." Kintaro had all this time been sitting by his mother's side, listening to what they said. When his mother finished speaking, he answered, "Oh joy! I am to go with the general, and one day I shall be a samurai." Thus Kintaro's fate was settled, and the general decided to start for the capital at once, taking Kintaro with him. It need hardly be said that his mother was sad at parting with her boy, for he was all that was left to her. But she hid her feelings with a strong face, as they say in Japan, and she put her son first. She knew that it was for her boy's good that he should leave her now, and she must not discourage him just as he was setting out. Kintaro promised never to forget her, and said that as soon as he was a knight wearing 2 swords, he would build her a home and take care of her in her old age. All the animals, those he had tamed, the bear, the deer, the monkey and the hare, as soon as they found out that he was going away, came to ask if they might attend him as usual. When they learned that he was going away for good, they followed him to the foot of the mountain to see him off. "Kimbo," said his mother, "mind and be a good boy." "Mr. Kintaro," said the faithful animals, "we wish you good health on your travels." Then they all climbed a tree to see the last of him, and from that height they watched him and his shadow gradually grow smaller and smaller till he was lost to sight. The General Sadamitsu went on his way, rejoicing at having so unexpectedly found such a prodigy as Kintaro. Having arrived at their destination, the General took Kintaro at once to his lord, Minamoto no Raiko, and told him all about Kintaro and how he had found the child. Lord Raiko was delighted with the story, and having commanded Kintaro to be brought to him, made him one of his vassals at once. Lord Raiko's army was famous for its band called the 4 Braves. These warriors were chosen by himself from amongst the bravest and strongest of his soldiers, and the small and well-picked band was distinguished throughout the whole of Japan for the dauntless courage of its men. When Kintaro grew up to be a man, his master made him the chief of the 4 Braves. He was by far the strongest of them all. Kintaro now rose to be the greatest hero of his country, and great was the power and honor and wealth that came to him. He now kept his promise and built a comfortable home for his mother, who lived happily with him in the capital. Each evening, his mother lay comfortably in her bed in this great house, and she felt her husband in her heart. Happiness bloomed inside her, and she felt a peaceful calm settle in her mind. Knowing her son would always take care of her, and that he put her first, just as she always had him, she allowed her mind to drift, and her body to become heavy. She found a natural, even rhythm to her breathing, and she softly lulled into a peaceful sleep.